NCAA basketball totals for Wednesday, February 1st. Thank goodness it's February. Really rough day yesterday. 0-3 in our NCAA picks. 0-3 in our NBA picks. Just a bad bunch of choices across the board. No excuses at all. Just a bad day overall. So for NCAA, that puts us at 123 and 103. For our picks, and we need to do better than that. So, unfortunately, it was a really bad day. I thought we got a couple bad breaks here and there, but but there were just some bad calls as well. So I take the responsibility for my picks, and we're just gonna have to bounce back. Still got a long season left, huge slate of games. So we will bounce back. But that was a really rough day. Let's go ahead. Let's jump right into it. Again, this is our segment where we look at NCAA basketball totals. We try to beat what the odds makers have set, either going over or under the total. We also have our NBA segment. That's going to be going on live at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. And we're going to try and do a better job than what we did yesterday. Again, the feedback from you guys was phenomenal. I hope you guys faded me because it was a really bad day in the NBA as well. And it just happened. So we're going to go ahead and move on to today. Don't forget sbrpicks.com. A lot of other handicappers out there. You might want to follow them for a little bit and fade me, considering how things have been going. Actually, this last week's been pretty rough overall. Just have not been doing a very good job as far as my overall pick selection and handicapping. Just one of those rough weeks. Anyways, but sbrpicks.com. We got YouTube channel, Facebook page, sportsbook review, sign-up bonuses, all that good stuff. All right, I'm just going to forget all about that. Let's just go ahead and let's just dive right into today and see if we can bounce back. First one up we got here is Penn State and Indiana. Pretty low total here set by odds makers. Whenever you have Indiana and the total's under 150, you kind of have to take a close look at that because they're really an up-tempo team with Tom Crean. Odds makers have it at 146.5, and I'm going under. Now, the last couple times they've played, odds makers had a 149 and then a 142, and then they had some kind of, around that area, 142, 147, then they had like a 137, just some, kind of average high 30s, mid 40s sort of totals overall. But what really interests me about this game, the last 9 times these teams have matched up, neither team has gone over 80 points in any of those matchups. That's the 9 last matchups. So these two teams play some pretty tough defense. The game is at Indiana, so I was a bit surprised again about that total. But when we look closer at the statistics here, Penn State's doing an okay job, on the defensive end. Right now they're allowing 70.1 points per game. That's not great, but it's not horrible. And they're also allowing opponents to shoot just 41.9% overall and just 45.3% on their 2-point shot. That brings on their 2-point shots, that ranks in the top 50. So that's some good defensive statistics there. Indiana is a very good scoring team, averaging 81.7 points per game, and they usually like to push tempo, but this year not so much, just 58.2 attempts per game. That's actually slow for them. So I can start to see why odds makers have set this total at the number up where it's at. As well, Indiana has stepped things up defensively, which has been surprising to see from a Tom Crean coach team. They're allowing just 70.5 points per game, and opponents are shooting just 41.7% overall. Good statistics, good defenses on both sides. I don't think they get to that 146.5. It's going to be a pretty good battle right here. And I'm going to go back under that total. Penn State, Indiana, under the 146.5. Next one up, Villanova and Providence. This is going to be, I'm going under all my plays today for NCAA. I haven't really analyzed the NBA one yet, NBA games yet, and we'll talk about that on that live segment tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern. Be sure to tune in, share that video, and I might need your guys' help a little bit more as things did not go well on tonight's games as I'm making this video Tuesday night, getting prepared for Wednesday's games. So Villanova and Providence, it's 134, and I am going under. I really think this is going to be a defensive matchup here. That 134 is just about right for Providence and Villanova. We're looking at the last few times they matched up, 132.5, 138.5, 137. So this is not any sort of an anomaly of a number. But the last 2 games, they've been over 140 on their finals. So I find this line a little bit intriguing. But then we start to dig in their statistics. And we're talking about 2 good defensive teams here. Both very well coached teams too. Providence, I think they should be playing better than they are. I really do, because they play some really good defense. They're allowing just 66.2 points per game. Villanova's allowing just 62.5 points per game. They're 14th in the country in defensive scoring. Great comeback by them the other night against Virginia too. I really thought Virginia was going to win that game. Actually, I had Virginia. Honestly, I had Virginia on the plus money line. I thought they're going to upset them. And that's just kind of been the week it's been for me. I could go over the plays I had yesterday. It was you ever have one of those days where just like everything goes wrong, like everything goes down in the last minute and you lose. It was one of those days for me. So I feel your pain if you had a rough day. Villanova, they're such a good defensive team. Opponents shoot just over 30% from distance. Providence, their statistics across the board are not bad, and they don't go at a fast pace, and neither does Villanova. I mean, Villanova's averaging 54.4 attempts per game. That's slow. And then you got Providence, they're averaging 54.4 attempts per game. So I mean, they're exactly the same. They don't go really fast. Both teams can score a little bit, but these are two good defenses, and I think that's what's going to really, keep this game under control at a controlled pace. Unless they shoot at some high percentage, especially Villanova, that they do have that capability. But I think it's going to be a pretty controlled pace, and good defenses are going to step up with this game also being at Providence. All right, so that's under the 134 with Providence and Villanova. And the last one up we have is Baylor and Kansas. Great matchup here. Best matchup of the day. Oddsmakers have it at 145, and I'm going under. Last time they met up, Oddsmakers had it at 145, and the time before that, 150.5. So, Oddsmakers stuck to that 145 mostly because you see the last two contests we've had with Baylor and Kansas, 66-60, 70-66, with Kansas beating Baylor at Baylor and then in the tournament. So two low-scoring affairs are the last two times they met up, and I think we're going to see that again. And if we look at the last 10 games, most of their games are pretty low-scoring affairs compared to this number here at 145 because they both play great defense and they don't go at an extremely fast rate. Kansas is the type of team that kind of plays to their opponent, and Baylor doesn't go at a real quick clip. Like we saw in, several years back where they used to go really fast. They don't do that anymore. They really hunker down and play great defense. So let's look at some stats here from these guys. 145, I think, is a bit too much. Baylor's averaging 73.7 points per game, but more impressively is they're allowing just 61.5. That ranks 9th in the country. Kansas, not bad at all. Although they do average 84 points per game, they're only allowing 71.1. Now, this game is at Kansas, and I think they're going to be able to get some stops against a Baylor team that's pretty efficient. So is Kansas. I mean, Kansas is shooting 49.8% from the field. That ranks 7th in the country. But Baylor is allowing just 38.2%. They rank 8th in the country. Baylor can step up and play some really good defense at time. Kansas, across the board, they're right there as one of the best defensive teams in the country as far as their percentages and statistics. They're in the top 50, which is really good considering there's over 300 NCAA teams. Good Kansas team. Bill Self, one of my favorite coaches. I think they go under, though, when all is said and done. I think there's going to be some tough matchups, some really good rebounding, and I think it's going to be a really more of a trudge sort of game, kind of like that Villanova-Providence game like I just talked about. That's it. That was really businesslike because I had a really rough day that just finished for me just a little bit ago. So I'm hoping to bounce back today. I've been looking at these numbers since they came out, and I think we're on top of it. So let's go ahead. Let's take unders on these picks today and see if we can get some low-scoring affairs. We got Penn State, Indiana under the 146.5, Villanova, Providence under the 134, Baylor, Kansas under the 145.5. Tough day yesterday. Still doing well overall. Just have to bite the bullet and move on. Don't forget to check out our NBA totals video, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. That's going to be a lot of fun. Please go ahead and watch that, and you can chime in and tell me how terrible I am if you need to vent a little bit, and I'll be happy to take it. I wish you guys luck on your picks today.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.